Hey everyone, and welcome to the Best of 3 Call of Duty Esports podcast. I'm your host, Josh, SalvationsElite. To my right is Sam, Bash_Bo3, and to our farthest right, per usual, is none other than Rex, Shady, Nero. And guys, the first week of official Call of Duty action is in the books. And let's just say it was a wild one, to say the least.
Dude.
And can you believe that we have a lot to talk about today? We have a lot to talk about today. I mean, basically, from here on out, we're going to be doing predictions and reactions for almost every single podcast for like the next handful of months. So it was going to be an absolute packed show talking about Parasite's debut, Gunless 240 Hertz, Pokimane Valentine's Day himself, and OpTic and FaZe and Empire, and so much more. Before we get any of that, guys, I've got to ask, what's going on?
Well, Josh, I am feeling kind of like a fish swimming through the ocean. And I come across this kelp forest, and what's lurking in there? I don't know, but I'm curious. So I'm going to go explore. And all of a sudden, out of one of these crevice rocks in the corner, an octopus arm comes out and grabs me.
No, it's Temp.
And then he ate me, and that's it.
Oh, the Thieves got the New York Subliners, and Shady Nero sad, man.
That's a sad story,
it's a sad
bro.
Shady right there, man. It's tough. Sam, how you doing?
It's a sad pog. I'm doing good.
Yeah,
I'm doing good. Yeah, you know,
little less horny for Formy this week.
Yeah, it's no, I'll always say horny for Formy. Of course, but I will say the draft buff, the points, formal.
It was tough, man. It was tough.
It was tough.
But like I said, we got a ton to talk about today. You can listen on Apple Podcasts. You can listen on Spotify and watch on YouTube. You can drop a comment on YouTube, and you can drop a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. And today, we got an interesting review today. I hope it's 5 stars. What you got for us, Sammy?
Sure is. Here we go. I love listening to this podcast at work and while I'm driving home. Perfect.
Well, who's this from?
Great time. Worship.
Oh, okay.
Worsh.
All right.
7P.
All right. Well, while he's driving home.
Yeah, while he's driving home. One of the only Call of Duty podcasts that comes out weekly.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Also, thanks for telling me about DraftBuff.
Oh, shout out.
It's a very fun app.
It is.
It is.
Keep up the good work, boys. Also, tell Nero to stop hyping up Clayster, though.
Oh, you're getting body times 2.
Wrong, though.
You're getting body times 2.
Clay deserves the hype. I refuse to stand back. I'm not standing down on that. He deserves the hype. Even
also,
more so after this past weekend.
I will also do a little foreshadowing, maybe, to next week's review. There's one titled Rex's Nipples. So I will leave you.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that one.
I will leave you in suspense.
I call reading that one next week.
Yeah, go for it.
Lower myself.
But like I said, we got a lot to talk about today. I mean, the news of the week's going to be packed. But before we get into the news of the week, we've got to shout out the legends themselves, DraftBuff. And guys, if you guys didn't get a chance to see the Listener League draft last week, it was epic. We had it all going, the whole performance going, and it was a good time.
I killed it,
and if you guys don't know what DraftBuff is, first of all, DraftBuff is like fantasy football, but for Call of Duty. You can compete in weekly leagues like DFS and pick a budget, or you can compete in season-long leagues where you draft a roster against your buddies. And you can join us and compete against us in the Community Draft Royale. The link is down in the description, also in the pinned comment. Shout out pinned comments, everyone who dropped comments on YouTube. And you can join and have a good time. I mean, for example, my team took down Sam, a taste of formal.
Taste of Matthew.
Oh, I'm sorry, a taste of Matthew. So Sad Pogs Road Rage took down a taste of Matthew this week. Let's go, baby. Basically on the coattails of Alex and Diamond Con. Let's go, boys. I'm hyped, and I felt pretty good about that one. Rex, did you win your match this week? Do you know?
Yeah. I went over 500 points.
Jeez.
Made in my match. That's pretty. I scored 501 points.
Yeah, that's actually crazy.
I'm number 1 on the leaderboard in points wise. Like,
my goodness,
destroyed this week.
You basically beat him by 140 points.
Respect, dude. Respect. So this week, speaking of our little question we're gonna have for this little like fantasy segment is, what are a few guys that might be a value this week in the draft royales? So basically, it's based off a budget. You have a certain amount of points to spend each week to build a team, and the players are kind of sorted off their previous season-long performance in fantasy. So this week's a little bit interesting because it's kind of based mostly off of 1 week. So there are some crazy ones when it comes to certain guys that are basically the price of the player. So Rex, who are a few guys that come to mind for you that you think are pretty good values this week that you might want to add into your lineup?
Some good values.
Give us one to start it off. What's one guy that you're pretty interested in? Or Sam, you can start if you have one lined up.
Yeah. So let's say that you got just a few coins to spend. So like you see guys like General.
He's not even playing.
Yeah, he's not even playing. He's 20.
Okay.
20 coins. Now, if you're willing to spend just five coins more, you can have SKYZ on your team. Because for some reason,
a second. How many points is SKYZ?
SKYZ is 25 points.
25 coins.
25 points, dude.
Yeah. So my thought is with that. So SKYZ is so impossibly and they're playing LAG this week.
Yeah.
So like that's free points.
It's free points. It's free real estate.
Or no, they're playing Paris. They're playing Paris this week. Oh, LAG and Paris this week. And so it's like, I mean, they got some nice matchups. It's SKYZ already. Yeah. So my thought is everyone on this app is going to have SKYZ on their team. So
you would assume so.
Maybe there's an alternate strategy where you actually pivot away from Mutineers players because people are going to be stacking them, and try like a different counter strategy, because that is part of like the strategy of these games is you have to pick the right guys, and also guys that aren't owned by everyone, because if everyone has them, then it doesn't help your team at all.
Correct.
And you'd have no upside if the player does bad and you could have somebody else. So
yes,
that is a strategy to consider with SKYZ. That just means everyone else don't pick SKYZ. Let me have them all by myself, please. Please, okay? That's all I want.
25 is just
but I do agree with you that SKYZ is a pretty freaking good value this week. Rex, you have one.
I mean, you could make an argument that maybe Gunless is going to go up a lot more now that he's on these new hurts.
Ooh, that's interesting. Wait, how much is he right now?
I honestly, I don't know. I can't see.
Let me see.
I'm already locked in my team. But
I can pull it up here real quick. But no, yeah, that actually is really interesting.
He's 50.
He's 50?
Wow, that's a good deal too.
Gunless for 50 was like a pretty good deal, and the potential he has on the upswing, I think, is really good.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
They selling him at 55.
They're playing the Rokkr and they're playing the Thieves this week, so it's not an ideal matchup for Seattle.
Could be rough.
Yeah, that could be a little bit tough. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like if you're like the Rokkr they play 2 matches against the Surge and against the Subliners this week. So I think Major Maniac could be a pretty interesting snag at only 48 points this week. Attach is also pretty interesting because we saw that Attach kind of is their Slayer now. Yeah. So that is interesting. I mean, all of the Rokkr guys are kind of like hovering in the middle there, like Priesta, Major, and Attach. So I think those are 3 guys you could look out for as well.
Okay, do we want to talk about Mac?
Yeah, and like, can Mac bounce back?
He's 20 coins right now.
Wait,
like the currency, he's 20.
Is he actually 20?
He's 20.
Oh my word!
So Mac,
you want General or Mac?
So you can go SKYZ and Mac, and you're only spending like what 44 points or something, 45 coins. Like that's a pretty sweet deal. But will Mac show up? It was pretty bad this last weekend.
SKYZ feels like a lot more safe bet than Mac.
SKYZ is more safe, but Mac,
for 20 is insane. I mean, the prices aren't too strict though. Like if you get SKYZ for 25, you can basically have like any of your choice of basically any other players out there. So like it's not too tough. When it comes to like pricing wise, unless you want to like stack like Awakening, SKYZ, and Mac could be a pretty interesting stack there. Because the other most expensive players, like I mean, you could go like RCDs, but besides that, it's like everyone else is kind of pretty close to price wise. Yeah. So that is pretty interesting. I think the Dallas guys are all pretty decent values considering Dallas plays London and it's their only match next week. So like the potential of them having some insane stats is pretty dang good. Yeah. So Dallas is definitely a team to watch out for as well. So there's some guys, a little bit of strategy for you guys as you try to, try your luck against us this week. I definitely didn't have the best week overall in the listener league or in the first DraftBuff week, but hopefully I can bounce back this week, and go from there. I finished like 700th or something. Out of like 890. It was tough. I started off so good too. At one point I was in the top 10 after the first 2 days because I had the Empire guys and Attach had a pretty decent first game, whatever. And like I was like, oh boys, I'm gonna finish top 10, and then I got smoked. So it was tough.
The way it goes sometimes.
It was tough. But if you guys got nothing else for fantasy, shout out DraftBuff.
Yes.
Use the link down in the description. Use the link at the top of the comment, and have some fun this week with it. And try your luck at beating us. It's basically impossible though. So with that said, let's get right in to the news of the week.
The Call of Duty News of the Week.
Oh my word. Not as much news this week as many other weeks there are, because there's so much COD this week, and I think that's kind of how it's going to be from here on out, unless we have some big like benchings or whatever it is, some roster mania craziness here in the next few weeks. But first thing we want to talk about a little bit was the whole like maybe a weird like amount of lack of practice these next few days where teams are trying to get better after learning so much this weekend. But the power outages inside the Dallas, Frisco area because of the snow and crazy weather this week in the Midwest might cause for a little bit of like weird scrim schedules for teams or lack of practice. I know like a lot of guys weren't practicing this today, at least on Monday. So that's something to look out for, because a lot of teams are trying to catch up on some practice, work on their S&D, wink, wink. And go from there. But so that's something to keep your eye out on. Any thoughts there?
That's so weird. Like how unfortunate that like you imagine people want to like hammer out those like
scrims, man.
Those scrims, and like now if they just can't, that's gonna be brutal. Also, like how long will it last? Like will there be like Thursday?
Yeah.
Whoever's playing, I think it's
that is something like I hope they have power by Thursday.
So. You would think so.
You'd think,
but
like
you'd think they have power tomorrow.
Yeah,
but like how crazy is that? Is like that's a factor now.
Yeah,
like,
it is.
So start using phone hotspots.
Yeah, some phone hotspots to get online.
Jeez.
Pulling Isaac. Like my word, dude. That's wild. But so that was something to keep your eye on out on the next day or two. And then league play stuff. We'll hit on that real quick. So finally, some more league play updates. Of course, they banned a lot of the obvious stuff. It's slowly but surely improving.
It is.
But like currently, streaks are still the trash can streaks. Like they're not even competitive. You just earn them by getting the total points or whatever. And like thermals are still in. Smokes are still in. Like dude.
Molotovs.
Like there's just other things that are still in. Like, bro, how are we not getting these things out? Snipers,
thermals, I think are still in too.
Thermals, yeah.
I was getting it's just like
thermally.
I did not enjoy that,
dude. It's insane, man. So, I don't know. Any thoughts on league play? What are your guys' thoughts now? If you play a little bit more,
I've actually am pretty optimistic about it. I know it. At the moment it's kind of rough, but I was actually having really competitive games, and like I was talking to Josh earlier. Like I'm kind of getting bodied right now.
Tough, dude.
I'm playing solo, so like I'm not really communicating, and no one on my team is communicating.
Hey, bro, why weren't you on at 3 a.m. last night?
I know I should have been.
Like, what in the world, man?
Seriously. But like they're like I'm like sweating, and like they're close, but I keep falling short, and it's making me angry. But it's like I do enjoy that, because like that's where it's supposed to happen. Like not in pubs. It's league play. So. I don't know. I have hope still. I know it should have been darn near perfect because we waited 4 months for it. But at least we got one that's, semi-competitive.
And they're at least updating it slowly. But like, dude, how are streaks still in?
Streaks still in.
Or the bad
stuffs.
The bad streaks. But I don't know.
So.
Thoughts, Rex?
I'm in the same vein. I still don't like the format, how it's organized. I'll never I don't like how it favors how long you play.
Yes.
But the matches have been, after you got through like the first few placements at least, the matches became way more competitive.
Oh, the placements were so toxic.
Yeah.
Dude, my first few placements, like I couldn't get them to rotate. And I'm the type of guy, like I'll communicate in game, and like there's one other like kid talking to me, and like the other people, like they would sit there on the hill the whole time, and they wouldn't rotate. I'm like trying to like 1v4 on the next hill, and like I was losing my mind a little bit. But once I got like through my first few placements, then it was like, okay, everybody else is now on the same page as me. We can actually do a real rotation here. But yeah, it's getting more competitive.
I'm still a little confused on how people end up in which division, just based off like the pure like the skill-based matchmaking of it. Because like I got put into Masters, which I mean, thank you, Treyarch. I mean, I know I'm nasty. What can I say?
Of course.
But like random people are putting like expert or like, you know, competitor or whatever it is. And I'm like, I don't really know what it's based off of. Because like in my 5 placement matches, I only played against 1 Masters player. And so it was like, I got put into Masters, but they weren't testing me against Masters players. So I'm just so, because I didn't do all my placement matches right away. I waited like 3 days to do them because I was trying to figure out if league play would get fixed. So I didn't actually do them until everything was banned. Like all of the worst stuff was banned. But like, it was just weird that I did 5 placement matches and didn't do one against a team, any Masters, only 1 Masters player all 5 games. So I was like, what? And then I got put in Masters. Like, I mean, okay, but like, how does that work? Yeah. So I was a little confused. It seems like people are still pretty confused about how exactly it works. So hopefully Vonderhaar releases some of that math he was talking about last week. Because, Vonderhaar, make it happen.
Well, they're also updating it to make it so like everything makes more sense. That's what's going to be in the updates. Like they're tuning it so like you're actually going to be put where you're more so supposed to be put. At least is what they say. Hopefully that's the case.
Yeah. I've pretty much just like lost hope on being anywhere close to the top on like the individual division ladders of 50 because that's solely based on like how much you play.
Yeah,
and it's like,
those are useless.
I just don't have time to, you know, get 1,600 points to get top 5.
No,
I'm pretty much gonna like get 0 gems, and like that's why that's what's annoying to me is like I just wish there was that elo system where it's just a basic, you know, bronze to platinum, diamond.
Yeah,
and I just don't care about these division ladders.
Within each day in and day out, you don't really know if you're moving up or down. You have no idea. And then there's only 5. There's only 5 divisions anyway. So like if you're in Masters, it's like, well, you're in Masters.
Exactly.
Voila, you're in. And then like if you're in Elite, you're like, you might like last year. I mean, in BO4, I was in Elite for like over half the year. Like and like there was points where I was playing with a lot of Masters players almost every game and still in Elite. And I'm like, what's happening?
Yeah.
Like how have I not moved up yet?
That's very strange.
And then I mean, I'm a way better player now than I was in BO4, but like it's just weird that like how that plays out. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my question marks is exactly like, do we know for sure that it solely bases off your placements now, based off how you played during that specific span of days between replacement matches or your next placement match or whatever? I have no idea. So that's what I'm confused about is like, what would it take for me even to like drop down in ranks at this point? I have no idea. So like, that's the question. That's what's so annoying versus like any other elo system is like, you know why you go up and down. And it's just tough. Like, and the people in my like little like group of 50 or whatever, dude, they are sweaters.
It's insane.
There's a guy with like 7,000 points.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, what?
Yeah.
I played for 4 straight hours. We only lost like 2 games. I had like 1,400 points or 1,500 points or whatever.
Yeah. Like it just like if you have to be a huge grinder to actually climb. So it's like nobody can just come in, you know, play a few games, get off, then come back the next day and expect to be like the same place and just keep climbing.
You're screwed.
But it's like I'm always competing against somebody who's playing 10 more hours than me. Like you just can't beat them, you know?
Right. But it's just obnoxious because it doesn't even have any effect on your actual like skill-based matchmaking rank.
I still don't even like know what that 1 to 30.
It's just to get more levels.
More levels. Okay.
Yeah. It's literally just to get more levels.
Oh.
It doesn't mean anything for your placements.
So I guess I'll just focus on getting out of Elite then.
Yeah, that's the only goal. Yeah. But again, like there's not much else to grind for. That's the problem. Like, oh, it's so annoying. Like at least if there was like a have system. Yeah, that would do it. So I guess we're beating a dead horse here, but that's it. League play, it can get better, please.
Yes.
Karma's back.
He's
back on OpTic.
Unexpected.
As a content creator and like assistant coach type analyst role, they said, which is interesting. So this is basically exactly what we said like months ago. It's weird that it didn't officially happen till now.
Yeah.
But it only made sense. I mean, it was kind of cool. They announced it on their little pregame show, so it's cool to see OpTic kind of doubling down on like their little pregame show that they do. I mean, it's produced really, really well, and they do a good job with it.
It was so weird. I was just sitting there because, you know, like usually I'll like either have a game and then like the CDL stream, or in this case it was OpTic. I like look over and Karma's there. And I'm like, wait. And I'm like, oh, Karma's back. Like it was just so like I didn't expect it to like happen, I guess.
Right.
Like I don't know, it was just weird, but it was cool.
Yeah, so. Now they've announced Maniac and Karma on the Huntsman pre-show. So respect.
Coming back.
OpTic pre-show now.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. So good to have Karma back. Cool. Good to have Karma back. Other things. Possible champs on LAN. CDL Intel tweeted this. Again, this has kind of been the idea for a while now, though.
Yeah.
in my head, it feels like it's a shoo-in that it's happening.
Yeah.
But like Temp in like their little 100T video was like, you know, going for my first like championship on LAN this year, and like, you know, like looking for my champs on LAN, like champs on LAN, you say. And so we'll see about that, and then we possibly got the champs date as well from Vonderhaar, actually, who potentially have linked the champs date with a August 9th through 15th date on this little postcard here. So
please,
we're looking for an early August champs date here. I desperately needed for Sam.
Yeah, I may be having a kid being born in August, and I would really like to be there at champs. We'll see.
Yeah, so hopefully we get an earlier champs date, the better. We like to all go if fans are allowed, of course. Who knows at this point? Maybe it won't even be the case. So, that'll be interesting. Thoughts on that scheduling? Rex?
I mean, I like it. I like earlier the better. I mean, you know. So I'm happy with it. It's a champs date I could make, and I really want to make it to champs if it's on LAN. So
right. My worry is, again, last year champs ended August 30th, and it felt like we had an eternity before the release of COD.
That was the
so
problem.
If we have another 2 weeks added onto that, like, bro, shoot me now.
Yeah.
Because, like, bro, come on.
Yeah, like, you would almost hope that, like, obviously, like, I feel like there's not much communication between departments or devs, so it's like there's no like reason why they would push up the release date of the new COD because champs is on August 9th, but it'd be awesome if champs was on August 9th and then COD gets released in October.
Yeah,
but that's probably never gonna happen.
I mean, I had an idea on that, like, what if we did like a cool like a chill, I don't know how it would be, like an off-season league or something, like where rules are way more lax and like there's like a lot of fan interaction and like how they can control certain things, like the maps that are played, or like what GAs have to be followed for certain games and which ones don't, or something like that. And like an off-season league that's like less serious but still fun could be kind of interesting. I don't know, because it's like there's so much dead time.
It
like
really is.
We rely on Hitch for throwback tournaments for like 2 months. Like that's literally our only entertainment for competitive COD for months.
It would be cool if they like actually CDL actually hosted throwback tournaments. Like that would be cool.
If the CDL hosted a throwback Modern Warfare tournament, would players be pissed? Like
a Modern Warfare?
Like a Modern Warfare throwback. Like, woo, we're throwing back to Modern Warfare. Like, do you think players would be pissed, or would that be just kind of funny?
You would hope that it'd be like not before Modern Warfare. Like throwback a year.
I mean, like last year there were tons of BO4 throwback tournaments. Which, I mean, that was the previous game.
I know.
I mean, what would be super fun is like if they went back to an older COD, like let's say Ghosts or something. Yeah. And like they got the same teams, like same people on the same teams that they were at champs, and literally do like the same like champ style tournament with the same like teams.
Yeah, that could be interesting.
Or as much as they can, at least.
Right, to see how like these rosters like themselves would perform in old CODs or something. That'd be kind of interesting.
The same players would be pretty cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Throwing in Advanced Warfare 1 and Force Crim and Scump and Formal and Karma to be back on the same
to play together again.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Advanced Warfare, the other piece of news from Modern Warzone was that he heard, and this guy's been pretty accurate, Modern Warzone's been pretty dang accurate, that COD 2021 is made by Sledgehammer, and that it is placed in the 1950s.
So unfortunate.
That sounds to me like it's a World War II sequel, because World War II, ends in the 40s. Then you have a COD, Sledgehammer made game in the 1950s. That'd be interesting. I mean, again, we could just ask for alternate history. So, I mean, like they gave us trophy systems in Cold War, so they can at least, right? I mean, come on.
Cold War did all right, and like it's an older type, but man, going back to the 50s, man.
Yeah.
It's a risky move. Just no grains, please. No grainy.
No.
Please.
There was little, do we know, there was color back in the 50s.
There was.
It wasn't just gray.
That's better than World War II, you know?
Yes.
Yeah, true. So, who knows? Who knows? So that is a potential leak there. But again, that could still be the case with the report is that Sledgehammer and Infinity Ward
are erasing
to complete COD 2021 and get a bonus or whatever for getting it out first. So who knows at this point?
Part of me wants Infinity Ward to win, honestly.
I mean, I think we're gonna get Modern Warfare 2.0. I think it only makes sense. So we'll see.
I'm not even anti-Modern Warfare. Like,
yeah,
old versions, man.
I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel. I mean, I would rather have a Sledgehammer COD for sure, no matter what it is. But
why?
I mean, I love World War II.
World War II's ranked was really good.
And we got a great rank play World War II, which would give us, just for the sake of, just for the sake of that, though, I mean, I'll take that over whatever Modern Warfare would give us, you know?
Like, I would have rather played World War II than Modern Warfare last year.
Oh, for sure. Like, although trophies, if you had trophies in COD World War II, then that game is sick. But the nade spam was outrageous in that game. So, whole other topic, though.
I disagree with that.
Oh, really? Surprising.
I'd rather play Modern Warfare.
Wow.
Than World War II.
Really? That's surprising, dude.
I mean, World War II is fine, but I mean, Modern Warfare, like, it wasn't like good 5v5, not good competitive, but I think it'll be tuned more if they get it again. Sledgehammer's like,
I don't know, dude.
World War II's game was just not it, man.
Do you want
it was boring.
Another year of no rank play?
No, I don't want another year of no. But I don't think we're gonna have another year of no rank play.
I think
but
Infinity
the devs,
Ward
I don't know, bro. Since Infinity Ward's devs literally said like competitive hurts the game, like ruins the game or whatever they said. Like, I'm kind of out on them. The other cool thing was that Lando Norris, the F1 driver, on a podcast said that he wants to own a COD League team, which is really, really, really interesting. CDL Intel also tweeted that. That's interesting. So again, the potential for expansions next year. A lot of people in the CDL really like F1, and so and a lot of them and a lot of those guys follow Lando Norris on Twitter. Yeah. He's been pretty involved. He does a Team Quadrant Esports, and they've been pretty popular. And so thoughts on that? I mean, that'd be pretty dope, right?
That'd be pretty sick crossover.
Sure, anyone can be an expansion team. I don't care who it is, as long as we have expansion teams.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Amen. I mean. That'd be dope. A guy like him's a pretty cool fit for the CDL too. That'd be pretty dope if he was a partner for someone to join in. Obviously, he doesn't have. How much money does he make? I have no idea. There's no way he has enough to buy it himself, right?
I don't know. Maybe.
I mean, that's what I'm thinking. Like, how much money can he have? Like, I feel like that sets up for another sort of like Paris situation where like they don't have a ton of money. But I mean, I don't know how much he makes. He might make way more money.
No, yeah, definitely not. No, his Google tells me his annual salary is $2 million. But he's a young guy, so there's no way that he has 25 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, who knows?
Personally, I want orgs that at least, like, Rise is a good org, I think, to get in. Like, people who are, like, have been, E-United, teams that have, like, been deep in it and, like, really understand it.
Yeah.
Which maybe he does.
Right.
And
Rise and EU, they have to get
rich teams.
Yeah, for sure. Or rich teams, I agree. I agree. Yeah, other piece of news is that Glowfrosty joined the New York Subliners Academy team officially. So shout out Glowfrosty. Congrats. Out Glowfrosty. So I guess we'll just kind of transition from the news kind of into our Elite Series discussion just for a little bit. The Elite Series started up, and you know, as this comes out tomorrow, we got the only day that we don't have COD is Monday. Because we got Elite Series on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, then COD Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sundays. So we've got COD all day long. And it's been pretty interesting. So thoughts on the Elite Series so far, the and everything else?
Yeah, I wasn't able to get as much invested in it as I would have loved to last week.
Yeah.
But it does seem like both WestR and Subliners Academy 4-0 on the NA side, which is pretty cool.
At least they have the standings on the website. Like, Thank goodness.
That's all.
That was all I wanted, really. Yeah. Was the standings on the freaking website.
Yeah. So that's awesome.
Yeah. It's real nice. Like, I think I'm really interested to see who ends up dropping out, because these teams, at least on most of them, played in the Cup 6 as well. And so if we look at like WestR, who everyone's like, they're like the god team in the AM scene.
Yeah.
And like Subliners is on the rise. Subliners played in the Cup. They got first at the Cup. So they're looking really consistent. They're looking really strong. And then WestR, who did go 4-0 in the league, but they placed top 16 at the Cup again.
Wow.
which is like, what is happening with WestR is like the Cup 5, we were like, oh, they are, you know, it was a new meta, no snipers. Like, we kind of chalked it up that. But then it happened again.
Although the Cup really doesn't mean anything to them because they can't win any pro points from it. I mean, it's only the cash, but I mean, the cash means something, I guess. But
right, and like, I guess I don't know if there's like maybe they didn't try as hard or whatever.
Yeah,
but
I would
like,
imagine not.
It seemed like that would get first. Like Subliners did. Team Z even got placed higher at top 8.
Yeah, they might just see it as good practice.
Maki, the Sibs team, I think they went 0-4 in the league, and then they placed top 32 at the Cup, which that doesn't look good for them. Which is like, how did they get into the league? Like, they're not placing well on either side.
Yeah, that's tough. No, yeah, it's interesting. It's been really fun. I mean, again, like there's gonna be a lot more to go. Right now, the NA standings are Subliners, WestR, UT Crew, Zed, Higher, Built by Gamers, Maki, then Mr. Midmaps. And Maki and Mr. Midmaps are both 0-4. So right now they're the two that are currently in the elimination side of things, but they still have 3 more. There's still 3 more maps to play or 3 more games to play. So still a lot could change there. But it is pretty interesting. I'm very interested to see how that plays out. And then on the European side of things,
we've
thoughts?
Rams is like they're in 5th. They got first at the Cup. And then what was their record? Where'd they go?
They went 2-2.
Yeah,
so
they
were 2-2 in the league, and then they got 2-2 in the league, and they got first at the Cup. So I think, and that's that Spanish team with Medals,
right,
and Journey. Like they're kind of on the rise, and I'm really excited because I love seeing a different type, like demographic coming in. So we're seeing the Spaniards coming in and actually showing up and playing really well and competing.
Yeah, so far really Singularity's 1-3. That's tough. I really thought they would be in a good spot there.
Yeah.
So like for seeing them struggle this early, and they did not look. I was watching their matches; they did not look good. So it's like, what in the world? Like they look so good inside of all of the cups. So it's just crazy that teams get a little bit more prepper. It is interesting because we really haven't seen like a time where teams can actually prepare to and scout out their opposition and plan strategies specifically for certain teams, because most of the time you play in a cup or a tournament and you're like, oh, we're playing these guys next, all right, let's play, let's play our best COD. So it is a little bit different when you can prepare for them. So it's just crazy that Singularity's been struggling so far. So they're currently in 7th. Inside EU, it goes Orgless 1, Gangsters 2, Connect 4-3, Obtained Esports, Rams, House Tart, Singularity, and Team 3G.
And then Connect 4, who's that third, who is in 3rd right? That's Hydra's team.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which worth noting, I feel like.
Yeah, they're 3-1 right now, and so it'd be pretty interesting to see them, make it happen, and it just kind of continues to show that Hydra definitely is pretty dang legit.
Yeah.
As a whole, and people I think underestimate that squad a lot. So, again, as you're listening to this currently, the Elite Series is going on.
Yes.
So go check it out because it's definitely worth watching.
Yeah, subscribe to the channel.
And subscribe to the Challengers YouTube channel. It has its own specific channel. And shout out I Hold Shift for carrying. The broadcast was definitely needed a little bit of work still. They needed a little bit of work. Let's just say that. Yeah. But except for Shift's crew, they were killing it. But with that said, we got still so much to talk about. Holy frick! Let's get to the breakdown. Let's go.
Trash. Garbage.
It's tough, man. Some teams struggled, some teams didn't, some teams excelled. I guess we can just go through it and talk about some of our thoughts, some of the big time things. Since we're going to be talking about all 12 teams in the predictions, let's try to keep this semi short, I guess.
Yeah.
And talk about the big headlines.
The big ones. Yeah.
And we'll spend most of our time debating and talking about those things in the predictions. So, where do you want to start? Do you just want to start with the lead, Dallas getting taken down by the Rokkr?
Yeah, I mean that's huge.
That was crazy.
And Rokkr lost to the Thieves. So what does that say about Dallas?
Or what does that say about the Thieves?
I know.
Or what does that say about the Rokkr?
I know. So many round things we can go.
What does it say about the Thieves?
No, yeah, that's what's crazy. I'm definitely interested to hear what you guys have to say.
Yeah.
Inside of their series as a whole, you're like, man, it came down to the S&Ds. Obviously, was the difference. I mean, duh. Yes. But like, my initial reaction, which I didn't mention this as much as in my breakdown video as I should have, was about like, I mean, Shotzzy did not play well in the S&Ds.
No.
And he struggled and was getting first blooded quite a bit and caught in some weird spots. And overall, just did not look very good or put together very well in the S&Ds.
Mm-hmm. I think it's going to be a real problem for him.
You think season long?
Half the season. Well, I don't know about season long, but at least halfway through the season, like, they're really going to have to, like, he needs to start playing S&D tournaments with Illy, to be honest.
Man, I don't know.
Because Illy's always doing these big chows and like all these different things. Like, he needs to kind of get in on that with him because Illy is really good at S&D, and Shotzzy is kind of bringing that team down when it comes to S&D. And if he just can get in that practice and get in that same, like, just understand the mindset of what S&D is, because he had a problem, I think, in Modern Warfare. It's just
at the beginning of the year,
at the beginning of the year for sure, but even near the end, like, he was getting kills and stuff, but he also had that fifth person on the map. And we know how that fifth person works.
Right.
Like, that shot with Shotzzy, all you had to do is kind of run at things.
It allows for more mistakes so you can play with your teammates and trade kills, and that's what Shotzzy's so good at.
Exactly. And the rest of his team, like, and Clayster, Huke, like, they all know how to play S&D pretty well. And like, Shotzzy didn't have to do that, but now he really has more weight on his shoulders in that regard.
Yeah.
So he's really gonna have to step that up.
Yeah. My thought is that there's going to be a learning curve for Shotzzy in 4v4 S&D. It's just a lot different. I mean, he started playing at the end of BO4. Like, he knows BO4 S&D and Modern Warfare S&D. That's what he knows. So I think there's going to be a pretty big learning curve for him moving forward. And like, maybe Dallas does struggle in S&D a little bit longer than we might have originally thought. But I think by the time we get, like, the next few weeks, by the time we get to the major event, I think Dallas will be in a pretty good spot with S&D at that point.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm calling like halfway through the league that Shotzzy will start saying. I'm thinking halfway through.
Oh man,
I don't think I think these next ones. I think they're going to still win, but I think Shotzzy's not going to be as full S&D potential,
right?
Or like, where he's not going to be as much of like a detriment until maybe like halfway through.
And again, it's a sample size where it's just against the Rokkr. Yes. I mean, like,
right.
They won their S&D against Seattle. You know, like they lost both their S&Ds against the Rokkr. And the Rokkr, we know, I mean, they've got S&D finessers. They've got Priesta, Major Maniac. I mean, Accuracy and Attach have been great S&D players the past few years too. So it's like this team, the Rokkr team, was built for S&D. And so it's like, if we're judging Dallas on that standard, then okay. I mean, I get it, but like, then now moving forward, they just have to know that they can't let this go to a game 5 against a team like the Rokkr.
Yeah, like you know, I saw a lot of comments too. Like these teams that are going to be really good, like the 2-3-5 teams, like the both S&Ds and then a control.
Yeah,
like they're dangerous. Like, yeah, you can be amazing at hardpoint and destroy, but if you figure out S&D and then figure out control too, you'll win the game. Like you'll win the match. And it's like. It's like these like dark horse teams like Rokkr.
Yeah,
it's pretty incredible that like that could be played out.
See,
it's just a matter of figuring out control, though. You know,
I'll probably hit on this a lot.
I don't think that keeps going though, man.
Yeah,
I don't think this happens again.
Yeah, that's my thing. I was probably gonna talk about this a lot throughout the podcast, but I mean, like, we've seen this year in and year out that the good S&D teams at the beginning of the year are rarely the best S&D teams by the end of the year. Like, usually that meta shifts and the best S&D teams kind of start changing as time goes on because there are different strategies and metas and things that teams figure out. So, I mean, and we've seen so many times in the past, like, you know, obviously TK is the most obvious example of teams that dominated because of S&D at the beginning of the year, and then teams quickly figured them out. And then they just could never win in respawn. They had to make roster changes. Like, you drop Theory, you drop Chino because they weren't fast enough. Yeah. So I could see that problem coming through for the Rokkr, which would be similar to what happened last year to the Rokkr, ironically, with a completely different roster. But
I feel like the play really is to get really good at hardpoint first and then figure out S&D later, rather than figuring out S&D and then not being good enough in hardpoint and then having to play catch up at the end.
Yeah, so. You got to feel better about teams who are good at the hardpoint, which is what we all kind of assumed in the first place. I mean, that's why you look at FaZe, Dallas, and OpTic. Like, those are the hardpoint teams, you know? So it is interesting. But yeah, that is going to be a worry moving forward. I mean, that was so shocking that by far the biggest upset of the whole weekend. It wasn't even close. And I mean, it is kind of funny that we all kind of wrote off the Rokkr just based off of like, you know, I mean, the Rokkr beat Toronto, and then Toronto played well and beat Florida in this tournament, and the Rokkr had beat Toronto in the kickoff event. So maybe we were all just a little bit too low on both the Rokkr and Toronto going into that kickoff event. And then Florida, we'll talk about this more, but Florida beat FaZe solely because no one had practiced S&D at that point at the kickoff event. And then you come in here and like, wait a second, we might have underestimated Rokkr and Ultra, but that still doesn't explain what happened with the Thieves and the Rokkr. Yep. So speaking on that side of things, thoughts on the Thieves beating the Rokkr, then the Thieves coming out and 3-0 in the Subliners in a close match. I mean, where are you at with that squad, Rex?
I feel like, honestly, I don't know. I really don't even like.
Dude, the Thieves are a tough team, dude. They're tough to figure out.
I think like they both are playing a similar sort of style of game, but I think LA Thieves had that sort of like mental edge in a way. Yeah, and they also had that young gun power behind it. It was really, really weird how that all played out, honestly. And if you look at the LA Thieves versus New York, it wasn't 0-3, but it easily could have gone 3-1 to New York's favor.
Right. Yeah.
Or 3-0 in New York's favor. Like, it was really close, and it's just really bad plays. So I really don't even know where to put LA Thieves right now. But, I mean, it's a tough one for me to call on that, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, in that first series against Minnesota, like the Thieves, they played a pretty good game. I mean, they definitely looked a little lost on in Miami S&D. So they lost the S&D to the Rokkr, but they won the hard point, the control, and the hard point. And then, you know, at the end of the day, they take the series. And like Temp was the playmaker in the control match. You know, Garrison control is always a fun one. I don't know. It's just interesting. Like, Tej looked really good. Like, that's really what you take away from this weekend, is that Tej looked good against Minnesota. Then he looked good against the Subliners. Tej was one of the biggest surprises of the whole weekend for me, like as an individual.
Kenny too as well.
Thing. Look at the
Kenny was great too.
That fourth map hard point
against against Minnesota.
Rokkr and Thieves, was it 250 to 60?
250 to 60.
Yeah,
that's what?
Yeah.
And then Rokkr beats the Empire.
I know.
The one,
I mean, they didn't beat him in the hard points, but it's 201 to 250 against the Empire. So like, there's something like that just went mentally off here. Thieves are more stronger than I was probably giving them credit for. I'll take that, but I think they're now. I feel like they're being still overhyped.
No, I am of the mindset that the Rokkr had a really bad match. I agree with you too. Like, Thieves for sure are strong, but for some reason, Priesta isn't as consistent as I want him to be.
No.
I was expecting Priesta to be...
Attach is consistent.
Yeah, Attach has been the consistent one. Accuracy has stepped up too, which is kind of crazy. I pretty much wrote off Accuracy from the start, but he's been stepping up in the S&D.
What was up with the Thieves in that first S&D against Rokkr? Just kept running on beach, and Accuracy was sitting like top visitor center, just beaming them every round. It was like, where do we think Accuracy is going to be? Oh, it's top visitor. Like, it happened like 4 times in a row. Yeah. Like, bro, are you guys stupid?
Yeah, I mean, Rocker's mind just could not have been there. Like, I don't know what was going on. How is Rokkr losing the respawns? And maybe that's what it came down to.
Yeah.
Like,
but then it's like,
because
how
Thieves does have that younger firepower, but Rokkr maybe just has a stronger like an S&D mind in a way.
I don't know, man. That's why the Empire match is so weird and feels so fluky. It's like,
it's strange.
I want to give the Rokkr credit because you watch the game and like, okay, man, yeah, they outplayed them in that game. Like, the Empire just made a lot of mistakes, but like, it feels so fluky because it's like there was the reset after map 1 where like there was the whole disconnect thing, and then like a 30-minute break. It's like you iced Empire with like the 30-minute break after the whole reset.
Stay tuned.
So it's like, I don't know, man. I feel like the reset might have gotten Dallas's head a little bit. They got cocky after beating them like 250 to 20 or whatever it was in the reset match, and then but then they ended up in winning the first hard point anyway.
Yeah. So
it's like, what?
Yeah, and like you can also point to like Shotzi's performance even on the hard point. On the second hard point, Shotzi was, I think he went like 20 and 24 or something like that. Like, he just, you know, he he wasn't the same presence on the map as he usually is. So I don't know. Yeah, like, and like this is not taking anything away from Rokkr. I think we're just kind of talking about like Dallas did not look like how they usually perform.
No.
Like there's something strange about that map. So
right.
It
was just it was also my mind they lost the control.
I mean, I think the Rokkr versus Thieves one was more fluky, honestly. Rokkr, I think, is stronger than what they were showing against the Thieves.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Wait, where do you lean on that, Sam?
Rokkr does not go 250 and lose it and gets a 100-point club
Mm-hmm.
when they just went 201 to 250 against Empire. Like, that is just fluky. Like that just should not happen, and it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, my biggest thing with Rokkr is really Priesta. I for sure thought Priesta was gonna be the Shotzi or the Envoy of this team.
Yeah,
but he really he can be, but he hasn't been that consistent. And
no,
I'm not sure if it's like I'm not sure what it is. Honestly,
Attach just, I mean, he had balls of steel in that series against Empire. He was challenging everything and like winning the gunfights consistently. Attach looked so good in the Empire series.
Yeah,
and like. Yeah, it's just weird. Like Priest has had to play that support type of role, but that's what Priest has always been playing. So you think he'd be like totally fine with that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not coming through very well right now. So it's like, I don't know. Yeah, the LA Thieves situation is really tough to judge because
are they good? Are they not good? Like
they also played the Thieves also played New York, and then you're like, I mean, yeah, that series was so weird,
so close.
Like, I mean, New York should have won that hard point. Like, why did they push from that P3 to P4 rotation on Moscow? Why did they push through lobby to chow P3 with like 35 seconds left?
And then they spawned in.
What?
Oh, man.
They were sitting there for like 10 seconds.
3v4. That's what was happening with New York Subliners. They were playing 3v4. I don't know what was going on with Mac. He was not there mentally at all. He must have like not slept that night or something because Mac was so bad and it was a 3v4. And like if Mac was there, like we know Mac can be there, New York Subliners win that series.
Yeah, that's what's so crazy.
He was
My
completely
goodness.
off. And like you seen Clay at the end just like yelling at them. Like I was not even like, yeah, he should be yelling because I would be freaking out too because they were so close every time, but just one little thing, thing just wouldn't go their way, and it was just in shambles.
Yeah,
I was impressed with Diamond Con. I definitely was, like with how he looked, especially specifically in the S&D. And I mean, they should not have lost that S&D, by the way. Like, oh my goodness.
It should have been a 2-0 going into the control.
Clay almost 1v4'd the last round.
I know.
Like, I was like, why does Clay have to 1v4? And he almost did it.
Yeah.
And like,
again, this is my weird with Sim has always been like a really weird S&D player, and like he pushes things, and you're like,
it's those pushes that like make no sense.
And like he's just not always good at being aware of like where his teammates are, and it's like to him, like in that control. It came down to Mac, or it came down to Diamond Con and Sim in a 2v4 at the end, and they were on defense. You still have a chance there. Like if you can get one pick and trade the kills, and then you finesse a little bit, there's a chance at least. But like Sim played in kitchen and didn't meet up with Diamond Con at all, so Sim gets flooded with 3 guys there and goes down. And you're like, what? Like what? You could have played with Diamond Con and gave yourself a chance. It's just like, huh? So I don't know, man. That's like those are the small things. I still think there's still a lot of potential with Subliners, though, right?
No, I was gonna say I feel like Subliners are a scary team right now, considering how like pretty good they played with how
3v4.
with how chaotic their gameplay is. Like, just imagine them when all 4 players are like tuned and like working together. They're a scary team.
I agree.
Like, the fact that Clayster was looking like the like most talented player on the map speaks volumes, because I'm not saying he's bad. I'm saying he's surrounded by like up and coming talent.
Yeah.
So like you expect him to be
and
the more solid
seen how good some of
role.
those guys can be at times too. So
like once these guys figure it out, I feel like they're going to be taken off. So I hope so. If I was Clayster, that is frustrating, but I would also have hope. Like,
the silver lining.
There was something here like that could have been a 3-0 Subliners. So I don't know. That is frustrating, but I'd have my head up high if I was Clayster.
Yeah, that's what was crazy. I agree. It's tough, but there's still a lot of potential. Their listening was really interesting. Like I know Maven was talking about it, like, yo, I love how like Clay like directs the troops, but like Clay was straight up screaming like, like top Eskies, go top Eskies. Like
you had to direct everyone while play well at the
he
same
was literally,
time.
yeah. I was like, it's impressive, dude. Like you're literally just screaming the whole time to your teammates, and somehow you're still playing.
He was frying too.
Yeah, so I respect that. You know,
he's good, man. He's a
we'll see.
player.
We'll see. It definitely makes you like enjoy watching the Subliners. You know, like like what's going on inside that team.
There is that question. Like, yeah, he's like the general and like really managing everything, but it also might take away like the players' own minds, which maybe that's what was happening with Mac. Like he's not the type of player who like knows how to do that.
Right.
Whereas like Asim and Diamond, I think Asim especially can kind of meld into that pretty well.
Yeah.
But
for sure.
Diamond Con maybe can meld into anything. We don't really know for sure. But Mac, maybe he just doesn't respond to that sort of thing as much.
Yeah.
So
that is
we'll
weird.
see where it goes in the future.
Yeah,
But,
I mean,
I was impressed by it.
Yeah,
But
I'm
it could
interested.
be a detriment,
I'm
too.
really excited
Depends
to
who
see
you
what the
have.
Subliners can do. Of course, they do have kind of a like not the ideal matchups here in the next week. So
Yeah, it's gonna be rough for them next week.
Yeah,
Or
so
this week.
Yes, this week. So yeah, that'll be interesting. I mean, they get, or I'm sorry, they get
They're
London.
playing Ravens.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was thinking.
Ravens is a pretty good matchup. I would love to see them play Ravens.
Yeah, that's not bad. So yeah, they're playing the Ravens, that's very winnable.
Oh, I was thinking of Surge. My
and
bad.
then they play this, and then they play the Rokkr. So very interesting. That's a nice 2 combo. We're gonna learn a lot about the Subliners next week. So we'll talk about them more in a little bit here.
Yeah.
So let's just talk the OpTic FaZe match, and then we'll talk about the rest of the teams in our predictions. So
practice your S&Ds.
Yeah. So thoughts on
Oh,
OpTic
man.
FaZe?
6-0 and 6. Was it 6-0 and 6-1?
It
Sam,
was.
Why did Formal run? Why did Formal try to chow on the 1v1?
I don't know, man.
What's happening on Miami, bro? Yo, it felt like OpTic was just full on tilted after that.
And the thing is too is like I felt like, or like you'd feel like watching their scrims that like they were actually like getting pretty decent at S&D.
Yeah.
But I guess like when you're playing debatably the best S&D team and like you're not fully like confident, it's gonna look like that. Like it's gonna look like just domination.
I mean, like they had mentioned it a few times, like in their podcast, like, yeah, we're playing the AM teams for S&D practice, blah, 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 blah. Like, I'm just interested to see how much they actually did practice S&D, like, and what were they doing? Like,
Man,
they felt like they had no like answer to anything middle of the like. For 4 guys who have played together quite a bit, I mean, with Formal and Scump, the chemistry they have, Envoy was there with Scump the whole year last year, and then Dashy played with Scump the whole year before that. Like, they should have plenty of chemistry at this point, even inside of S&D, and they're all S&D guys, at least in their past at some point. It's just weird that, like, they look so uncomfortable.
Yeah, part of me thinks that they do rely on Envoy to kind of take over a little bit. And
last year they did.
And that was not happening here. Like, Envoy was getting shut down, and so you kind of wonder...
Abezy was...
Yeah, Abezy was just making plays that
first blood after first blood.
Holy cow! Yeah, so like you kind of wonder if that like breakdown of Envoy kind of being their central player there, and like he wasn't he wasn't able to make some plays, and that kind of just kind of broken down the whole thing. Maybe.
Yeah, OpTic. I think if I remember on Miami, they didn't even go towards A bomb once. I think they didn't try to even plant towards A once. And so it's like FaZe was just stacking B side with the ARs, just watching those long lines of sight, and like OpTic was just getting stuffed in purple. Like they had nothing they could do. And so I'm just like, you've gotta go towards A at some point. So it's weird that like whoever, I mean, I would imagine Envoy's probably making a lot of those play calls.
I would think Envoy, yeah.
That like,
I mean, maybe Dashy too. I mean, Dashy's a really good S&D player.
Right.
Honestly, he did okay. But
yeah,
he couldn't do it himself.
No, yeah. I mean, again, and that's what's weird is that like the respawns were so close. So like if FaZe and OpTic are like almost the exact same skill and hard point, and then the control just came down to who got defense. So it's like if FaZe gets that defense, they win the control. Sure. So I mean, at this point, FaZe is significantly better than OpTic. It's like they're not like. Would you put them in different tiers at this point? Because like, sure, the respawns were close, but the S&Ds were pure blowouts. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, were the S&Ds like? Are we gonna see a new OpTic S&D next one? Like, Do you think this is just like really fundamental? Like they really just don't understand their S&Ds, and this is gonna be a big problem for a long time. Or do you think this was a fluky S&D, and like, the next ones are gonna be fine?
Yeah, send a tweet out like saying like this looked nothing like how we like practiced.
Yeah, I think they kind of just went brain dead.
Yeah, maybe they just broke down and like they just literally couldn't do anything.
Yeah,
that's a possibility.
That's a big breakdown.
Oh no,
Scump got 0 kills.
6.
Oh, it's wow.
I wanted to see if I could find a stat like when was the last time Scump has Scump ever gone 0-6?
I have no idea.
Like
where they like
0-6
has an OpTic team. Yeah, has an OpTic team ever got 6-0 in S&D and Scump went 0-6? I would be surprised. So it's like that's crazy, and like it was shocking. I mean, at the end of the day, like we said, S&D is so much easier to fix than Hardpoint.
True.
So much easier. And we saw OpTic against the Paris squad, which we'll talk about Paris in a second. Like they were down 3-0 on Checkmate S&D, and you're like, they look horrible. Like, what is happening here? And then they started slowing down and just playing for trades, and they won like 6-3 or 6-4.
So it must be a panic thing. Like I bet they're not well versed in S&D as they'd like. I think that's just what it is.
Right.
But then when they're playing FaZe, it's like, oh wow, now we really are kind of out of our element. And like, just accentuate.
My other
Paris, it's like we can't lose against Paris. Like they're more confident.
Yeah,
and
I
their
agree.
gunfights against Paris, like we can, make mistakes and probably get away with this. So like they're more chillaxed and they're able to slow it down and play better S&D.
For sure. My other narrative is that FaZe got embarrassed in S&D by the Mutineers in the kickoff event, and maybe put more time into S&D because they felt like they needed to after getting embarrassed by the Mutineers.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So that's a narrative type thing, but like it kind of makes sense in my head that they got embarrassed by the Mutineers in S&D and they lost the series because of it. They're like, all right, well, we need to work on S&D, and they maybe they did.
Yeah. I will say this could have also though been a 3-1 OpTic if Abezy didn't go off on that second hard point.
For sure.
Like OpTic pretty much had that wrapped up if Abezy did not get that. Was it 2 or 3 piece, whatever it was?
I mean, Abezy got a 2-piece on P3 to give FaZe enough time to force a P4.
Yes.
And then they got the rotation because they spawned out because Abezy died. And then he gets a 3-piece on Bus just to give him a chance to cap that.
Yeah. So like, yeah. And like, I don't know. Like you got to think OpTic never wants to go to a game 5. So like they're going to be very strong in hardpoint and control. And obviously Abezy making those plays didn't help anything, which forced them to a game 5. But yeah, no, I don't know. I don't think you can say these are 2 different tier teams. Maybe you, I don't know.
You probably can't. You probably
it seems
can't,
wrong to say that.
But like the S&Ds were so
out
lopsided. Of class. It's like, how does FaZe ever lose if it goes to a game 5? You know, like you know that's a weird. You probably can't say. You have to say they're in the same tier probably, but it was
pretty bad.
It was the S&Ds were a travesty. It was so bad. So okay, I think we're going to talk more. We're obviously going to talk more about these teams moving forward. Yeah. Otherwise, this podcast is going to be 4 hours long. So with that said, let's get into our predictions. Who's going to be the best in the game this week? Let's go. Who's the best in the game this week? So we're going to be going through all these matchups one by one from the beginning of the weekend to the end of the weekend and figuring it out. What do you guys think of the 4-day schedule, by the way? A little lengthy.
It was lengthy, but I also kind of liked it too. Just like, it depends, like, because like now I got like a little busier of a schedule. So like I get my 2 matches in, I can watch the matches, and then it's like, okay, now I, do whatever I'm doing. Yeah. So it's easier to like stay up to date with everything.
True.
Yeah, it does give you more buffer time to like play catch up if you need to.
That is true. Yeah, that is a very nice thing. Yeah, because like I know on Thursday I couldn't watch them live, so like I had to watch them back that night, which is nice. I don't know. Part of me still thinks that like the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, like load up Saturday, Sunday more.
I mean, they only had 2 matches on Thursday, right? Like you could just put one more on Friday, one more on Sunday or something,
yeah.
and then
like that would have been
one more on Saturday.
Kind of nice, but. I do see the kind of point there of kind of spreading it out.
Yeah,
maybe for like broadcasting to it
easier on the casters and stuff because that's what they were doing. They were doing like 1 caster set per day or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. Like it was a little bit weird. It is a little bit tough with like the scheduling wise. I definitely like found it easier for me just like to conserve time like throughout the whole weekend to like start watching it 30 minutes late so that like I can like buffer between one map to the next map and like I don't
even get me started on when they say it starts at 3 and it doesn't end up starting till like 3:45.
Yeah,
like,
dude.
That's annoying.
The ads are insane.
Yeah.
The talking between is insane.
Yeah, so for me, it's like I just haven't been watching live. I've been watching like on like a 30, 40 minute delay until like I catch up. And then I'm like, at least I saved myself like 40 minutes, you know, because it's just like, otherwise it's so dumb. Like literally on the day, what was that, Saturday? I started like an hour and a half late and I caught up because like of how much time they had of ads. It's like people who are sitting there just at their TV watching or whatever. That was an hour and a half of my time that I saved.
Just wasted, yeah.
It's annoying. Like, it actually is annoying. There's way too many ads going on. There's more ads than there's actual gameplay or talking,
right?
I feel like.
Because, like
it is ridiculous.
Yeah, because, like, literally you can skip between, you know, the hard point to the S&D, and then between S&D rounds, there's the long kill cams, things like that. So you can skip the kill cams.
Yeah.
And then on Miami, the first 10 seconds, literally nothing happens. So you can just skip the first 10 seconds on Miami. So I was sitting at my computer like, yo, I'm flying through this thing. Like literally not one kill has happened. We're 25 seconds into the round. You know? And so like I did watch, besides the first 10 seconds of Miami map of rounds, I watched every second of the whole weekend, but it was funny. So with that said, thoughts on this weekend? I mean, our first match of the weekend is LAG versus the Mutineers on Thursday at 2 p.m. Central Time. So, thoughts on LAG, what we saw with this team, obviously, moving forward into a Mutineers match. Again, the LAG, weird weekend for them, you know, last week. Thoughts on this matchup, Rex?
Abezy needs to go donk mode.
Dude, bro, that like 12's kill streak on Crossroads was sick, by the way.
Yeah.
Abezy has to go donk mode, and Vivid needs to be good at S&D. Those are kind of their keys to victory.
Yeah, Vivid got bodied.
They're not good keys to victory to have because you're very much reliant on if these guys are failing, there is nothing to back that up.
Yeah.
So I think Florida's going to win this pretty easily because I don't think Abezy's going to be able to go in full donk mode like we think he can. Even if he does, it's not going to happen a second time.
Well, these are like must-win matches for Florida because, like, I mean, must-win matches for Florida. So, because
SKYZ won't be as bad as he was.
Well, I mean, he's definitely worth more than 20 points, you know, on DraftBuff, you know. Shout out DraftBuff. But yeah, that's the real question for me is like, I don't know, bro. Like that does get a little bit worrying for them. Is there a place on the website to see the standings for each group? Oh, here we go. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I found them. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, yeah, with the Mutineers, you know, after playing their one match against Toronto, like you still got to play OpTic, you still got to play FaZe. So you better beat LAG in Paris. You better beat LAG in Paris.
Yeah.
So these are must-win matches for them, and if they don't, they're going to start in the losers bracket. So that's going to be pretty interesting. Yeah, Sam, thoughts on this matchup?
Yeah, I think this is a pretty clear Florida win. I know Florida did struggle, obviously last week versus Ultra, but again, not a very large sample size. I think we know Florida's ceiling is just through the roof, honestly. When you have Awakening,
that match against Toronto is weird, man.
Very strange. I would want to say this is a 3-1 Florida.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, you're buying back into Florida after how they looked?
But here's the thing. Ultra has always been a brick wall team. Their struggle for no matter who they're playing, they're a struggle.
Yeah, but like
they never can pull out these crazy
Toronto
they never beat anybody else.
Toronto completely outclassed Florida in hard point. Like they lost like every rotation. They were losing they were flipping the spawns constantly. Like Toronto played an insane series against Florida. I was really impressed. And Kleenex was going ham again. Like, yes, this is what I like to see. Honestly. Kleenex was dominating, and it was awesome. It was really fun watching Toronto play. I don't know, man. I definitely lost quite a bit of confidence in Florida. Like their S&D didn't look good. They were getting bodied in the hard points. Like,
oh man, that's so quick to lose confidence. Though
I know.
Especially
I was just gonna say
like Toronto. Toronto is a wall. Like Toronto.
No, I agree.
We know from last year they're a wall. They're a strong team. Florida might have just been underrating them. SKYZ was having a horrible day.
I mean, good news for Florida fans is that they're playing LAG. That's the good news, you know? So it's like, I agree with that. So, yeah, my question with LAG is like, I still don't see the upside in the response. Like, if you're playing against not Paris, where's the upside in the respawns? I just don't see it still. You know, and so that's my worry is like you're losing like Garrison Hardpoint to Paris, who just did not look good in the respawn. So yeah, I agree. I'm gonna go 3-1 Florida as well, actually. So I think the control, they could either lose the control or one of the S&Ds. So I will. Oh, we all did Florida 3-1. Oh my word, Rex, you have Florida 3-1.
Yeah, I've got Florida 3-1.
Gosh dang it, man.
I'm not, because LAG is like, you want to put 3-0, but LAG is really kind of disproving a lot of people is like, they're stronger than what we're making them out to be.
Actually, I'm going Florida 3-2.
So they deserve a map.
Florida 3-2.
Really?
Yeah. LAG, they're just kind of that team that hangs around, you know? And they're not, they hang around enough to be annoying, but not enough to take the dub. That's kind of how it goes. So I'll give LAG an extra map there. So Florida 3-2 there. Interesting stuff. Next match is a really fun one. OpTic versus the Ultra on Thursday. This is fun.
I think this would actually be a pretty good match.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thoughts?
Yep, I agree.
Rex?
So, I mean, okay. Toronto, like I've said a million times, they're this wall. They're difficult for no matter who they play.
Are they a green wall?
Now, originally, I'd be like, oh, it's going to be like a Chicago 3-2 is what I want to put. But I'm like, well, Chicago, as we've seen in their S&Ds,
goes to game 5.
I don't know if they're going to be able to pull it out if they go to a game 5.
No.
That's what makes me wary. Like, I don't know. I think Chicago's going to have to win by the 4th map or it's going to be really, really scary. But I'm going to go with the flow with this one. I'm not going to totally discount Chicago now. I'm going Chicago 3-1.
That's definitely the most likely option.
Yeah, like
it's definitely the most likely option.
Yeah. I know it sounds boring, but like you're right though. Like if it goes to game 5, OpTic are in trouble. But like Toronto, and like you can't really even count out Toronto in the hard points either.
No, obviously not. Not how they played against Florida.
So it's like
this could easily go the opposite way.
It could.
Toronto could win this. I legitimately think based off how Toronto played that they have a chance. But
yeah, I agree. I almost put Toronto 3-2, but I'm gonna go Chicago.
There's a difference between Florida and like you're still looking like Neptune's still learning the game. You got Slack, like he's not the slaying power that a guy like Dashy is. Like you know when you're looking at those other SMGs, like the worst player on OpTic is who? You know, like who knows? Like that's the question mark. Is like can all of that Toronto roster really keep up? And like these games, I think OpTic's gonna have a little bit of a wake up call. Like
yes,
OpTic always needs their wake up calls throughout the year. So I'm also gonna go. I'll agree with you guys on this one. I'll go Chicago 3-1.
Yeah,
it's just by far the most likely one.
If Toronto wins this, I'll never doubt Toronto again.
No, that would be sick. That would be insane. By the way,
it would be wild.
The hype would be real for Toronto
beating Florida and then OpTic.
Yeah, that would be crazy. I mean, there was some interesting moments. I just don't trust Toronto enough to pick them in a series like this, you know? So that's my question mark. So next match is another interesting one. Surge versus Rokkr. So Seattle's a team we haven't talked about yet.
No.
Gunless, back on 240 hertz.
240 hertz
so,
Gunless.
If you guys didn't hear, Gunless didn't realize he was playing on 60 hertz this whole time.
Yeah.
And he hops on 240 and like that legitimately matters. Like if you guys don't know how that works, it's like built in like actual input lag if you're playing not on 240 hertz versus what all the other pros are playing on. And when you're a pro, it actually matters a lot. So like realistically, you know, because you could be missing out on like a frame or two that another player isn't. So that like really does matter. So anyway, Gunless played very, very well after they got smoked by Dallas, which they definitely got smoked by Dallas. Then he figured it out by Sunday, and they played very, very well against the London Royal Ravens in Parasite's inaugural re-entry into the CDL. So, Rex, thoughts on Seattle in this matchup against the Rokkr?
Smoked by Dallas.
Something in me is telling me that I want to put Seattle winning this.
It would be them to win this.
It would be amazing.
It would be them to win this. But I'm just not there yet. I'm not prepared to make that sort of commitment. So I'm going to go with Minnesota 3-1. I think with the likes of Major
3-1
Maniac,
feels likely.
Major Maniac, Priesta, and then you have Pristini, Looney on the other side. You got Octane versus Accuracy. It's just
this is really a stress test of what do you believe about the Rokkr.
I know.
And attached, like,
but also Octane though, he was kind of getting bodied a little bit.
He played better. He got bodied against Empire.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: Octane and Accuracy are I feel like similar sort of styles of play. A little bit.
No. I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No, Accuracy is way slower. Octane's much more aggressive. But either way,
I think Octane posts.
This is interesting because I feel like Gunless. I kind of want to buy into the Gunless hype. Like, it is tempting, very tempting. But again, it is against London, and in my head with Parasite's first team, it's like, okay, I mean, like, he might have been able to do that on 60 hertz. Let's be honest, like, very possible. So I feel like I need to go the Rokkr here, based off because I mean there is. What's on the line for our predictions here? Our season long. Wait, we didn't forget to mention what our record was last week on our predictions. Yeah. Do you have that pulled up here quickly?
Sure do.
Side note, last week on the podcast, I swear I said FaZe 3-2, but apparently I said OpTic 3-2. Twice. Which is so crazy because literally on the watch party yesterday, I was like, yeah, guys, I'm going to stick with my original podcast prediction of 3-2 FaZe. And like, I said that, I literally said that in my video last week too. So like in my head, I picked FaZe. But then I went back and like saw the podcast and I said OpTic. And I was like, what? I had like a complete brain dead moment in my head.
Crazy.
That's so crazy. Because originally I had FaZe written down for my prediction. I must have swapped the OpTic during the pod? I don't know. Anyway, sorry, Sam.
Oh, go for it, man. You're good.
What was our records last week?
Actually, like, when you lose, so it's fun.
Oh, yeah? Well, I bodied you in the
by 20 points.
Listener league.
Anyways, me and Josh are currently tied for first with 5 points.
I have 5.5 because of
you
my
have
FaZe
5 points.
6 points.
And then Rex, you have 3.
Oh, get bodied, Rex.
Well.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
I mean, you bought into like New York, right? And
I bought into New York. I mean, again, New York could have taken that.
Who else did he have? What other one did he have wrong?
He had Paris for...
What was the one that we got right that he didn't?
LA Thieves versus New York.
Yeah.
I had Seattle winning London. You both had London. But then you had LAG winning against Paris.
Yes.
And I mean, Rex picked Paris. And so there's like two offsets there.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't believe I didn't.
The New York and Paris one,
What is wrong with me? How dare I pick Chicago? Because I've believed in FaZe this whole time. I literally even gave the whole narrative for why FaZe would win.
Yeah.
What in the world? What was I thinking last week? Guys, don't ever let me do that again. Don't ever let me doubt myself.
We'll see.
That's insane. What do I say on the podcast? Now I don't trust anything I've ever said ever on a podcast.
You can't. It's all lies.
This is all lies. It's insane. It's insane. Where are we here?
Minnesota versus Seattle.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so Rex has Minnesota 3-1.
Yes.
Sam? Are you really going to go the same thing as Rex again?
No.
3 straight? See, the thing is, if it goes to a game 5, you'd have to assume Minnesota wins 3-2. I'm leaning Minnesota 3-2. I think Seattle might be more legit than we give them credit for.
Do you think so? Because
I'm going to go Minnesota 3-2.
I contemplated Minnesota 3-0. Cool.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, again, that's not impossible.
No.
By no means impossible.
Just to make it spicy, I'm going to go Minnesota 3-0.
Oh, spicy.
We'll see what happens.
Cheetos. I respect it. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, that would... Yeah, I mean, you have to lean Minnesota in the S&D. You probably lean Minnesota in the hard point, and then control could go either way.
Toss up.
Yeah, control could go either way.
Yep.
But they beat Empire in the control, so it's like. But again, we haven't seen all the teams on all the maps yet, so it's we're basing Rocker's whole opinion on control. That could be checkmate, it could be raid, based off their one garrison control against Empire. So it's like there's still a lot of room for question marks here. We're not going to really know the full story of all of these teams till after the first stage. So That's really the question marks. I guess we probably should have mentioned that before we did all of our predictions in the first place. But okay, next up is the Subliners versus the London Royal Ravens again. And let's talk Parasite. Rex,
Man.
he had an ace. He had an ace.
He did have an
Butt
ace.
crack showed up.
Booty hole to try.
I think Parasite, I mean, I think he's solid for the squad. I think he's still learning and kind of trying to find where he fits in with the squad.
Yeah.
But I feel like we're going to see something different from Mac this time around. I think Mac is going to come back and be stronger. And Clay was looking really good. And Ravens weren't, like, they were there.
Zero's coming back into this team.
He has to.
Zero's coming back in here.
Yeah, once Zero comes back, honestly, I think
Parasite's not going to play for more than any amount of time they need him to, right?
Probably not unless he starts showing up bigger.
I mean, he played horrible in the first 2 maps, but in the last 3, pretty dang good. So I am excited to see what he does in these matches. But again, they're playing Empire on Saturday, so they need to win this. They need to win this match against the Subliners, which makes this pretty interesting because the Subliners really need to win this one too.
I know.
So it's a fun match. It's one of, honestly, I might be most excited for this one out of any of our first 4 here. It's really fun.
Because then like the biggest thing is can New York put it together? Like, will the three guys mold together? And I it could be too soon to like say that.
Yeah.
And maybe they just break down again. There's a strong possibility.
Do they?
I don't know.
I think they learned something. I don't know, man. I'm buying into the Subliners here. I think the London Royal Ravens are in a little bit of trouble here. This could go either way, though. Man, that's tough. I'm going to go... I think... I like the Subliners in S&D quite a bit. I think they're going to keep learning. I'm going to go Subliners 3-2. Subliners 3-2 is my prediction here.
I think I'm going to go London 3-2.
Really?
Ooh,
so. Spicy. Another spicy Cheeto. Rex, thoughts? Wait, why are you...
I'm going to go... I mean, for some reason, I think my internet or something was going crazy, but...
Oh, Sam, did you type in your last one here?
Yeah.
Oh, it's not showing up on my side.
Subliners 3-1. I think if it goes to the S&D, it could go either way. For some reason, I feel like London might do better just because of some bad plays that Subliners were making, and like, will they make them again? I don't know, but I'm going to say Subliners 3-1. I think the respawns are going to go in Subliners' favor.
Yeah, wow. Okay, Subliners 3-1. Bold. I love it.
It's there. It's there. Like, they were like, it's there.
Yeah, wow. Rex is on board, man. He is. He really, really is. Is your guys' pages updating? Is mine? I think mine is now.
No, this whole sheet's been kind of messed up. That's what...
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so back to back, we got another London match here. See, my worry is, it's just like with London, I don't know, man. I just don't trust him in the respawns. I could see a world where New York does win that 3-1. Maybe, I mean, there's a world where New York 3-0s. That's very possible, but like really any of the outcomes are possible in that series because we just don't know enough about either of those teams yet. So, you know, it is tough to predict with those matches right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll stick with my New York 3-2 prediction. But again, London plays Dallas. So
Dallas 3-0. Yeah. Sadly, I want to put 3-1, and I think a 3-1 could happen.
Dallas
I just don't think it's likely.
Dallas has got to come out with some rage here. They're going to come out with a hot 3-0, man. That I would bet a lot of money on a 3-0 there. Right? I mean, come on.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I just don't see how Ravens are going to keep up with them in any part of it.
No. So
even Chauncey playing bad, Illy is way too strong of an S&D player. It kind of makes up for it.
Yeah, I agree. So then we got Chicago versus LAG up next. I mean, could this be a 3-1?
I could see them squeaking out the S&D. LAG.
Yeah, for sure.
Too.
Yeah.
So are you going to go 3-1, Rex?
I'm going Chicago 3-1.
Really? Okay.
I am.
I think I might go Chicago 3-0, honestly.
See, my thought is like, okay, Chicago realized, all right, we got to put in the time. Basically, whenever any time OpTic on a scump team has noticed, like when they were obviously exposed, when haven't they responded and like came out and proved it?
How much scrims do they have?
And I mean, yes, but at the same time, like there is time to like make some changes. And this match is on, when is this match? Saturday? LAG? Yeah, Saturday afternoon.
Mhm.
They got a few days here to like put some strats together. Scout out LAG. I'm going Chicago 3-0. I'd be very surprised if LAG pushed this to a game 5, especially. I'd be even pretty surprised if they took a map, to be honest. But not a surprise if Dallas didn't 3-0 London. Yeah, it does come down to the S&D. It'll be fun to see where Chicago has kind of improved there in the S&Ds, and after how they played against Toronto as well. So overall, we got now the other Toronto match, Atlanta versus Toronto. This is also really interesting. Again, it comes down to like, what do you think about Toronto? Can Toronto make some noise here? We all picked Chicago 3-1. So where you at with this one?
I know.
I feel like you got to go Atlanta, right?
Yeah, like I want to say Atlanta 3-1, but then like that kind of makes me question my Chicago 3-1.
Yeah, I'm gonna go
3-0.
I'm gonna go 3-0. Last week I'm trusting this was kind of my statement last week that I still believe there's a pretty big tier gap between the top few teams and the rest of the league. Obviously, Florida was a little bit of a fraud, not like a full-on top 4 team, but like
Rokkr and Empire. Too.
Dallas, Dallas, those are the question marks. It could be a 3-1. It could easily be a 3-1, but I am very confident that Atlanta will win 3-0. If I could parlay Dallas, Chicago, and Atlanta in a bet with them just straight up winning the matches, they're going to win these 3 matches all day, every day. So, again, wait, Sam. Sam, for all you guys did, Sam wrote Toronto.
That's a mistake.
Huh? Wait, are you dropping a bomb on us here, Sam?
Whoa.
So you're going to Atlanta 3-1?
Yeah.
Again, that's not crazy.
Yeah, I think Toronto, I don't think it'd be the S&D. I think it'd be the control that they squeak out.
Yeah, very possible.
If they get the 3 defenses.
Yeah, I mean, it makes more sense with the Chicago match because it's like the control and the S&D are toss-ups. Yes. I just feel like I'm so confident in Atlanta at this point.
Yeah. S&D, they're
Hardpoint,
strong.
they're so good. And then it's like, it comes down like, I still feel so good about them in S&D. Then you're like, okay, control? Maybe.
Yeah.
So 3-1, very possible, but like, they're going to win the match. If they lose, I'll be shocked. So then we got Paris versus Florida.
Yeah.
I mean, thoughts on this Paris roster? I was pretty disappointed with Paris as a whole, I feel like. I mean, Rex, thoughts?
They couldn't get it together at the same time. Like, I think it was the first few maps, or maybe first 2 maps, Fire wasn't quite what we wanted him to be. And then the next few scraps was also just not playing up to his potential, but Fire was doing decent. I mean, in Aqua, honestly, I was impressed with Aqua a little bit. I mean, I was underrating Aqua for sure.
Yeah.
But not enough to beat Florida, though. So I'm going...
Right.
I want to give Paris the benefit of the doubt. Paris has my heart a little bit. I'm going to go Florida 3-1.
There's just like there's just nothing.
There's nothing exciting about Paris.
And like that seems kind of mean to say, but there really isn't like this breakout potential.
No. I mean, they won the control.
I do see breakout potential. I don't know.
With who, though? Like
Fire,
them as a team,
Scraps,
Fire?
Aqua, all of them, honestly.
I mean, Scraps went off.
Aqua was playing pretty good. Scraps has, Scraps, he can be like,
Scraps went off in that controlled checkmate, but like,
yeah.
So one thing I really noticed is that they started excelling when maps slowed down. Whenever a map like really picked up its pace, like in that Crossroads hardpoint, as Guerrillas started finding their groove and like really got in the mix in the middle of that game, Guerrillas just started running the table. And like, on check or on Paris won the Crossroads hardpoint, but like again, you can kind of post up on Crossroads with those ARs on like those head glitches in certain points and play a lot slower. And there's more like linear spawns on Crossroad. I mean, on Garrison a lot of the times. So like my question mark is, I feel like they could be pretty dangerous on like those types of maps, like on Checkmate.
Yeah.
But like on Crossroads or Raid,
Crossroads probably won't beat them.
Yeah, I don't feel good about Paris on half those maps, and so it's like, I don't know, man.
But they're gonna ban Crossroads. Like they're gonna try and get a Garrison or Checkmate, probably.
Maybe. So that's my question mark. Is like that's why I'm a little bit worried about them. I'm gonna go. Wait, where are you going with?
3-0 Florida.
Yeah. I see again. I'm still a little bit worried about Florida. To be fair, I picked them against LAG 3-2, so I'll go 3-1. 3-1 Florida.
Yeah.
Here.
Nice.
I'm not really. Yeah. I guess I'm not taking too much into what happened last week with Florida. If it happens again this week, then yeah, then I'll be scared.
We're really in agreement on winners this week. This is we have a lot of the same winners here, boys. We might have some tiebreakers for map count next week. My goodness.
I think the only change is I have London versus New York.
Wait, do you mean Rex have the exact? Oh my word. This is horrible. Okay, Seattle versus LA Thieves. Rex, who are you picking? I'll pick the... No.
Oh, man. So this is going to be a tight... I honestly think it's going to be a lot closer.
This is a fun match. This is a fun one.
This is going to be a 3-2. Now, for who's going to win, I'm going to go ahead and say
no.
LA Thieves.
Okay. Oh, I was going to say, there's no way.
3-2.
Dang it.
Oh
my word.
Really
I wanted to pick
Seattle
LA Thieves 3-2.
But I'm just not.
You should go
quite
Seattle
there yet.
3-2.
Did I?
No.
No.
Man, this is tough, bro. I don't want to pick the same thing as Rex over and over here. But I have to go with what I believe with. I do believe it's going to be a Thieves 3-2. I was looking at this one before we started. I'm like, yeah, it's going to be 3-1, maybe 3-2. It's tough. I was like, do you believe in LA Thieves? This is very much of a heart check type one, like where you're at with these guys. Sam, what are your thoughts? I want to hear what you have to say before I finalize my decision here.
To me, it seems like a pretty... I don't know. Seattle, to me, Gunless goes off. Looney and Pristini are going to be your X factors.
Yeah, Looney had moments. Pristini had moments as well.
Looney and Pristini both have moments. Pristini is like,
definitely not consistent yet.
No, like Pristini is that guy that like will like sneak behind your base in the hard point. You know, he'll get the spawns, but in terms of just like slaying power or like you know, moments that change a map, I don't know with Seattle. And so to me, this is a pretty clear LA Thieves win 3-1, 3-0 maybe. I don't know.
I don't think 3-0. I'm definitely more confident in a 3-1 here. I'm going to go 3-1 then as well. I'm going to be a little bit different from Rex, and at least in the map count, you know, I'm like, my goodness. But no, I do agree that like, yeah, my thought is like, you know, Seattle did look, you know, again, this was the first time in Seattle Surge franchise history that they were 2-0 in S&Ds in a series.
Crazy.
Let's go Surge, baby. Nice.
Wow.
And so there is improvement there. But again, I think the Thieves look pretty good in Surge as a whole as well. So that'll be a pretty fun series. I mean, they did lose to the Rokkr, but like, you know, so I'll take Thieves 3-1. That could easily go 3-2, though. That'd be an interesting one. And then our last one here is New York versus Minnesota.
I think we'll have differences here. I think.
No.
You don't think so?
Right?
I mean...
I think we're all going to go Minnesota, right?
Let's go New York.
Rex? I mean, you had him beating London.
As much as it pains me, I want to put New York, and it will hurt me inside if New York ends up winning this. But I am going to put Minnesota on this one. I think New York is on the up. I truly believe that. But I don't think they're going to be there by this weekend.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say Minnesota 3-1.
Wow. We have never been this aligned in a weekend. There's no way. Like any tournament last year or like this year, I mean, definitely not this year. Like, what in the world, bro? Me and Rex have all the same winners. I'm pissed. Because I think Minnesota's going to win. I think Minnesota's going to win 3-1 or 0. 3-1 or 0.
I think it'll be 3-1 or 3-2. But I'm saying 3-1.
I don't know, man. I had New York beating London 3-2, but I think those are the two. London is probably the third. I mean, it goes Paris is the worst team. London is the second worst team. New York's probably the third worst team. Minnesota at this point is probably the fourth team. You know, or you know, depending on what you think of Dallas and.
I mean, I would have New York maybe beating Seattle.
Really? See, I don't think I would. I think I believe in Seattle now as like a 10 or 9 or 8. But so that's my thing. I'm gonna go Minnesota. Whoa.
Here's the thing with New
Sam
York.
just went. Like, Sam, what? Huh?
I'm in full send here, boys. I'm New York 3-2.
Oh my.
Oh, Sam. Oh man.
Is this one of your just cuz ones?
Well, well,
I feel like once per episode you have a just cause.
Yeah, kind of. But at the same time, though,
what's the narrative?
Potential is there.
Here's the thing.
What's the narrative? Sell me on this
New
one.
York almost could have 3-0'd LA Thieves.
Who beat the Rokkr?
Who beat the Rokkr?
Who beat Dallas?
Who beat Dallas?
Mm-hmm.
Part of me thinks...
Could-haves, would-haves, though.
Yeah, I know. Part of me thinks I'm not entirely sold on Minnesota being this amazing team quite yet. I think there's still some inconsistencies with that roster.
I agree.
However,
Yeah.
New York doesn't look as polished, obviously, as they should be. So part of me thinks that this could be an instance where Minnesota, a Priesta doesn't show up for whatever reason.
He's just not there.
He's
just gone. They play 3v4. Then they have a chance.
It's a 3v4.
Yeah, now they have a chance.
Figured it. Or,
he pulls a Mac.
Yes.
Yeah, pulls a Mac.
But I don't know. Like I am just so I'm very excited for this Subliners team. Like the fact that I don't know. I can't get over the fact that they almost won that 3-0 with how they kind of looked.
It's just like
it's crazy. It truly is.
They were playing a
Almost-
3v4.
it's just ironic, just saying like I'm so excited that my team got 3-0'd.
I know.
Woo!
I know it sounds weird, but like
It sounds freaking stupid.
to do that with that roster and Clayster's basically like directing everywhere they should go.
Yeah, no, I got you.
I don't know.
Okay,
The thing is, nobody believes in the New York Subliners, right?
Yeah.
But like, they looked better than I think anyone
Rex.
was really kind of counting them to look like.
You're picking
And they're
Minnesota
on the
3-1.
up.
Get
And
out of
Mac
here.
was not showing up.
Put your action
New
where
York
your mouth
has
is.
the potential
Take
to
New
keep
York.
growing.
Take New
They're
York.
not there yet. I'm picking my actual.
Take
New
New
York's
York.
not quite there to beat Minnesota yet.
You have to.
We
But
live
it's-
in a
they're on their way
society. Did you see
being
the
able to beat
Justice
Minnesota
League
consistently.
trailer? Oh,
Good.
look better than the original Justice League, which I actually didn't end up seeing anyway. But
Yo, Josh, you're going 3-2. You're making me look like the guy who's the most down on Subliners.
Oh.
Minnesota 3-2. It's not because I'm high on New York. It's because I'm actually a little bit lower on Minnesota.
Yeah,
that's my issue there.
This hurts me. I don't want to believe that.
It's tough though because it's like Minnesota's going to win the S&D. So the question is, do I actually think that New York can win 2 respawns? No, I don't. I'm going 3-1. I lied. I'm going 3-1. That's dumb. Okay, so Minnesota 3-1 is my final prediction here.
Like, no
there it is.
way.
That's our final predictions there. So, hallelujah. We made it through another wild podcast, but we do have one final segment today, which is a debut segment. And it's called, I have no idea yet, but we're going to name it when I click this drop. 3, 2, 1, drop time.
What did you say?
Alrighty. We don't have any name for it yet because I have not made the drop, but here we are. It's time for the new segment, which is, what the hell did you say on the poll? And here we go. The question I asked before right before we started recording today, I asked, which player would you rather have the rest of the year? Have you guys seen this yet?
I haven't seen the results.
And I asked Abezy, Simp, Huke, or Envoy. So before I tell you the people's opinions, I want to hear your opinion, and then I want to hear what you think the people's opinion is. So Abezy, Simp, Huke, Envoy.
What's the question?
Which player would you rather have the rest of the year in Cold War?
People are going to be really high on Huke right now. They're going to be really high on Huke. So I think the people's opinion is going to be Huke.
Interesting. Rex?
What are the 4 options?
Abezy, Simp, Huke, and Envoy.
Oh, Envoy? He's on OpTic Chicago. He's going to be the #1 pick.
Oh, that is true. Duh.
But who would you guys rather have rest of the year to build on
Simp.
your team?
I would take Simp.
I would also take Simp.
I would take Simp for sure.
Yeah.
But I feel like Huke had
very interesting results.
I feel like Huke had that, like, oh man, Huke was going to be this amazing player.
We currently have 114 votes.
Huke
So that's
a good
pretty
catalyst for a team, but he's not a team that, like, he has to have the right players around him. We've seen that in the past.
I agree.
If he doesn't have the right players, he doesn't thrive. Simp, he's going to thrive no matter what.
A surprising result so far because we actually have 114 votes. It was a pretty decent turnout.
Yeah.
And a perfectly even like 5% split for all of these. So at 20%, the bottom of the leaderboards here is Abezy. Okay. Tied at 25% for second place. Envoy and Simp. The people have chose Huke as their preferred player out of those four. So people are high on Huke right now. High on Huke.
I respect that. I'm glad Envoy didn't just win by a landslide.
High on Huke.
Love Envoy. He's great. Not that he wouldn't be a good pickup.
The people are
That is, that gives me hope that it wasn't just Envoy automatically.
Yeah, that was good. Good for our listeners out there. You guys are smart. You know, really, really good. Smart.
If you picked Envoy, you're not smart.
I decided I'd read a few people's opinions.
Not wrong.
JD Biscuit says Envoy's gotta be the best player in Chicago, and to be honest, I want their storyline to keep going. He's got my vote. Another one is I feel like Envoy is currently the only one who's creating a brand for himself and allowing fans to connect with the pros. So he's going on more of like a non-player or non-just thing.
As if he's running the org.
Huke's got his time. Huke's got his shot or time to shine this year. That team's set up for him, and he's doing he's doing his thing. And then Hubris says Huke has been dominant force on the map time and time again so far, dictating the pace of the games, making absolutely absurd plays. Got to be Huke. And then
I mean, depends who you can get around him.
It's Asim, not a sim. Asim says Envoy by far. He is such a smart player and still has gun skill. Basically, a young Karma. And then Bauer basically said, I don't know, man. They're all great, just superstars. Bauer. Shout out Bauer. Shout out Bauer. But yeah, fun little segment there to end out the podcast. And our final segment is, we forgot to do this last week, but what are you guys watching this week besides Call of Duty? Because we all know we're watching some COD.
Yeah.
Rex, what are you watching this week?
I mean, I'm still on that Game of Thrones grind.
Okay.
I gotta get on the last season of Attack on Titan.
Oh, for sure.
Oddly enough, I'm watching this new show called Invisible City, and it's about Brazilian folklore.
That is something Rex would watch.
Nice.
Nice, dude. Nice. Sam, what do you want?
I will say, it's not something that I'm going to watch, but I watched yesterday Knives Out, the movie.
Oh, yeah.
I was thoroughly impressed. I haven't seen it yet.
I still haven't got around to seeing it. Really and I was going to go see it in theaters, and somehow I didn't go.
Yeah.
But like, everyone said it's sick and I want to watch it, but I'm still on the WandaVision grind. It's been sick, dude. It's been so good. I came into it with such low expectations.
I gotta start it.
It's gotten better and better and better and better every episode, and like it's changing the MCU universe, like legit insane. So that's my no free shout outs, of course. I mean, Disney needs our shout outs, you know?
Yeah, of course.
Obviously. Besides that, that's kind of what I'm on for. I mean, football's over now. That was a crazy Super Bowl. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the podcast. If you guys did, like, comment, subscribe, drop a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, drop a comment down below on YouTube. Shout out DraftBuff. Check out the link. Join the community draft royale to compete against us this week in week 2 of the CDL. And guys, drop our comments down below on what predictions you guys got. But as always, I'm your boy SalvationsElite. To my right is Bastion_Scorpio3. And to our farthest right is Rex, Shady, Nero. And guys, we will see you next time. We out.